Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You are tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports radio station, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Amazon Music, Audible, iTunes, and more. Because I'm on a Happy 88 mission, I want 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years. So the show is about hope and happiness, and I have topics and guests to that end. And because it is Valentine's week, I hope you had a great Valentine's Day yesterday. But as they say, really, you can have a Valentine Day every day if you put your mind and heart to it. So I thought I would spend the week with some of my relationship experts, starting with Dr. Pat Allen yesterday. And today I thought I would bring you a very special guy. He's actually my own relationship therapist who I used to see if my marriage was, if it had run out of its shelf life. And I wanted to be able to tell my kids in the eye that I did everything I could with my husband to stay together and go about that in a very process-oriented, and I needed help. Yes, I give advice. Yes, I give relationship advice, but you know the adage, there's nothing more difficult than to have a physician heal thyself. So I went to an expert. His name's Todd Creager, and I'm going to be spotlighting his interview about cheating, because I think that is something that people think that maybe they can get over or maybe not get over. And it was an important enough question for us to revisit as the spotlight interview. But before we go there, I always like to bring and balance out what the bad news headlines out there, and Lord knows there's enough of them, with some good news from my on-location beat reporting that I do with the New York News Agency. I had a couple of wonderful events, including a Superbowl party for Marines from Camp Pendleton and veterans, as well as Rockstar sponsored, helping vendors with both renowned artists painting their carts as well as permits. So those two stories coming up. Enjoy.
Dr. Marissa reporting live in Inglewood, and I have two special people with me right now, and they're going to introduce themselves and tell me and us why they're here.
I'm Francisco Reyes Jr. I'm a graphic designer from here in Los Angeles.
And I am Junia Funes Mata, owner of Olmeca Tamales.
Wonderful. And this is your home.
Yes, it is. It's my new little home.
Wonderful. And who did the designs?
Francisco, which he is amazing.
Thank you. Yes, I did. I designed the art for the cart. So, yeah, I'm glad Junia here gets to flaunt it around the streets of LA.
Yeah, definitely. And do you want to tell me what the theme or what you...
Yeah, so I used the hand motif in a circular mode, which signifies the generations of recipes that have been passed down since the Aztecs, the Olmecas, the Mesoamerican times until now. And everybody's got their twist on the recipes, but it's basically, the same base ingredients, and then they're just handed down over generations.
Beautiful, beautiful. And?
Yes, Olmeca. Well, it was through the pandemic, looking for tamales that really resonated with my growing up, and couldn't really find what I was looking for in LA, so I flew back home, which is DC.
Wow.
Grabbed my aunt's recipe and came back with it. People loved it, and here I am, year and a half later.
And the
So
heritage is
yeah, so Mexican, Salvadorian. Yes. And also the Olmeca name actually resonated really well with me because it goes back into like ancient times. The Olmec people, which you mentioned earlier, is like one of the first civilizations on this earth.
Beautiful.
So giving back to some actual history into, making of tamales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did it feel to get selected for this? Because this is like an honor, right?
Unreal. It was unreal. I mean, they could have gone for anybody else. People have been doing this for years. I mean, the street vending world, it's no joke. It's no game. It's really hard. It is a hustle. But here I am. I'm very happy that, that I was chosen for this. And honestly, like, I hope to keep moving forward to be able to give back and not just, be a part of it, but actually be able to give back.
And for that, both of you, over here, both of you get Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award. I don't give that to everyone, but I love what you're doing. I love what you did.
Thank
I love
you.
what you're doing.
Thank
and
you
you're
so
gonna give back.
much. Of
Yeah.
course we are.
Awesome.
Thank
All right,
you.
now do this. This is what I peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace.
Through inner peace.
Wow. Beautiful. Thank you. You're gonna love it. What is your name?
My name is Alfonso Martinez.
You're one of the vendors that got a cart and a beautiful design.
Yeah.
You need to move your vehicle.
That's a tamale amarillo.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
What kind of tamale?
We call it tamal de amarillo. We make it with pork.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Cristina Torres.
And what are you doing here today?
So we're here showcasing our tamales de la masita fina. We have chile verde pollo con mole verde y puerco con mole rojo.
Wonderful. And
Yes.
so somebody painted your cart for you, yes?
Yes, we had Ezra design our cart, the design on the outside, and we have Revolution Carts who created this amazing cart that's going to help us out in the future.
Let me take a look at the design. Oh, it's beautiful. And look at your outfits match. And I love this woman. Oh my goodness. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Congratulations.
Ezra, EZRA.
And what are you doing here today?
Just doing a little appearance for the cart I designed for La Masita Fina.
Beautiful.
They're doing good things, so gotta give back to the community however I can.
Awesome.
Raspberry, cucumber, and a passion fruit.
Wow. I'll take the first one.
Okay.
You can push it, pull it, It's a mobile tamale cart, and they just came out, they just created it, and they have the different variety of tamales, they can set them up.
So I'm Saints Tamales, my mom and I. My friend Marilyn, she helps me as well. We do 100% vegan tamales. The flavorings, I have a chicken with green chile. I use a soy and a wheat base. And I make it all from scratch. Everything's made from scratch, the masa, the salsa, everything. I do a red pork, which is a mushroom and soy base. And then I also have a bean and cheese with rajas. So they're slow cooked beans simmered for about 30 to 32 hours. Some rajas poblanas and vegan cheese.
Wonderful. Mama, are you proud?
Yes, my mom, she speaks Spanish.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, I think it's wonderful, and your cart is beautiful. You had an artist help you with this?
Yes, Mel de Paz is her name on social media.
Beautiful. That's so wonderful. Well, I wish you very much luck.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Super Bowl Sunday. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live. You know me as the Asian Oprah, and you know that I'm all about balancing out the bad news with the good news and finding people, politicians, and organizations that are helping people. So, I've met you before.
Yes,
but
yes. So
we're old friends.
I'm Katrina Foley. I'm the county supervisor, and every day I try to help people. So
I know you do. So what are you doing here today?
today we are here to celebrate Super Bowl Sunday, but more importantly to greet our Marines that are coming in and to show our appreciation for them. And, you know, it's a tough time right now in the military, and so I want to make sure that I show my support.
Wonderful. So, who are you rooting for?
I'm rooting for the Rams.
Yeah.
Go Rams.
Hometown. All right. If you remember this,
Yeah.
peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Dr. Marissa reporting live. Happy Super Bowl Sunday.
Charlene Monroe.
Wonderful. And what are you doing here today?
I am volunteering. I helped set up all the tables, blew up the balloons. My son is in charge of this whole thing.
Aww.
So it's just amazing.
Wonderful.
It's the most wonderful thing that a family could do.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning, this is Dr. Marissa. You know me as the Asian Oprah, reporting live in Newport at a Super Bowl party honoring veterans. And I have one here with me. He's really interesting. I wanted you to meet him. What's your name?
Stanley Behrens,
And where did you serve?
U.S. Navy,
And in which war?
World War II,
Which makes you young. How old are you?
99 3/4.
99 3/4. So what is the secret to staying healthy and happy?
Well, I'm a vegan, but I'm now vegetarian because I eat fish
Okay.
For the protein.
Right.
And I still work, and I have a purpose in life to be useful. A spirit in me has said I must be useful for society.
Beautiful. So enjoy yourself. Who's going to win?
Naturally, our local team.
All right. And I do this at the end of every show. If you peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live. You know I balance out all the bad news with good news and good people. Thank you so much.
Mwah. That was good.
It was. Good morning, this is Dr. Marissa reporting live. You know me as the Asian Oprah. I'm here in Newport at the American Legion on Super Bowl Sunday, and they're having a wonderful shindig honoring veterans, but I found some special veterans with a very wonderful story. So I'm going to let them take it away and introduce themselves and tell me what happened.
Okay, my name's Manny Montanez, and I'm one of the organizers of this event. This is our 11th annual, and I'm to my side, we have Dave Olson, who's in my platoon in Vietnam, and John Moore, who was our platoon leader in Vietnam, Henry from Michigan, who's in my platoon, and Warren right here. Warren, small story, put me on the chopper the day I was wounded. We're all wounded. We were all different times, all Purple Heart recipients, but Warren especially put me on the chopper, and he thought I was dead. That was his last memory of me. And here, 53 years later. So.
Well, thank you all for your service. Thank you for what you do. Have a great time. Who's going to win today?
Don't care. We are. We're going to win because we're here.
Yes. So what would you say to people right now who are feeling hopeless about what's going on in the world?
Just hang in there.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And tomorrow it'll be a different day.
Beautiful. Same thing.
A different day. Get through this.
Pray for our servicemen to stay safe wherever they're stationed at.
Good point. Pray for servicemen and
Ditto all that.
ditto all that. Thank you so much. This is what I do at the end of every show, if you wouldn't mind. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I show you those stories because a lot of the times we listen to the news and just shake our heads and say, what's wrong with people? So just from those two on locations, you know that there are people, politicians, organizations doing great things, balancing out all of that bad news out there with good news. And now don't go away. When we come back, we're going to talk about relationships with Todd Creager. Can you still have a relationship after cheating? Here on Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And we're back. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere, including my YouTube. You can watch and listen to the shows. And if you missed any of the 637, you can get those on my playlist, Get Happy with Dr. Marissa, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, and The Morning Show, as well as my red carpet playlist with interviews with Lieutenant Uhura, with Ugg Boot founder Brian Smith, with gold Olympic medalist Shannon Miller, and of course, Halle Berry, John Travolta, and a plethora of other very interesting and accomplished people. That's on my YouTube channel. Just free subscribe there, and we're almost to the 250,000 view mark. Thank you so much for your support. Speaking of support, if you shop on Amazon, you can support my nonprofit. It's called 8 Ways to Happiness. If you go to Smile Amazon and just put in 8 Ways to Happiness, or go on my social media, Doc Balance on Instagram, Dr. Marissa everywhere else, there's links there so that you can help kids, teens, and young adults who have temporarily forgotten their birthright to happiness. That's my nonprofit. Thank you so much ahead of time for that support. And without further ado, here's Todd Creager, my own relationship therapist, who's going to talk about cheating and is there hope after cheating. Enjoy.
How do we actually have pleasure in the bedroom when there's been a betrayal? And cheating in marriages, cheating in relationships, period, is a topic that I thought, let's just put this moose on the table, my Canadian version of elephant in the room, and talk about how do you actually heal? Can you actually heal from infidelity or cheating from a partner, or if you yourself has cheated? And I thought, now who can I ask on who's an expert of this? And there's no other person I could have asked than one of my favorite people on the planet, because he was my marriage therapist, actually, years ago. I won't say how many years ago, but I know he's really great. He was the person that I went to say, have I done everything I could to stay in this marriage? And we actually worked with him for 2-3 years, I believe, and I got that answer definitively answered so that I could divorce with love. And we still keep in touch. I know he's been doing fabulous things, and I wanted to bring him on the air too to find out what he's been doing. But please welcome to the studio Mr. Todd Creager, who's been on OWN, on TV. He's the author of a fabulous book called The Long Smoking Hot Marriage. Actually, I think it's just The Long Hot Marriage. But welcome to the studio, Todd.
Nice to be here.
Oh, it's always good to connect with you. I don't see you as often now that I don't go to you because I'm not married anymore. Don't need a marriage therapist, but
I know.
But it's a good thing. I'm so glad that you were able to come in as my guest co-host. You are my first male guest co-host on this
honored.
series, as you should be, and as you are. I couldn't think of a better person to come into that.
That's great.
So let's just jump right into the topic. Of the things that I hear from people, infidelity is one of the ones where I hear more often than not, I can forgive and get over pretty much anything but that.
Right.
And if my insignificant other, if my mate cheats on me, that's it. There's just no question about it. It's over. It's done. And then I also hear from clients and friends who say, it's even if I wanted to forgive, I can't, because I cannot seem to get over that act, and trying to heal in the bedroom after being cheated on or even cheating is just one of those things that it's almost unfathomable. So I wanted to bring you on to actually talk about how it is possible, because I know that I don't know if I believe it yet, but I know that I believe that you work with couples and they are able to get over it. But personally, I couldn't see it. So help me with that.
Sure. Well, absolutely true that some people might have that feeling and that they make that decision. It's done, one and done. That is it. And I have found people that say that oftentimes when faced with it, it's not so simple. Actually, I mean, I know this sounds a little bit wild and maybe a little bragging, but I'm just telling you what I've seen is that I have about a 90% success rate with couples that have had infidelity. And what I mean by success is not just that they survive, but they actually literally learn to thrive. That their relationship becomes better than it was before the whole affair happened. And I've been really doing a lot of work with that and training other psychotherapists and how to help couples in this situation because I have found that it is possible. But having said that, you know, Marissa, I have to honor what people want. And there are times people are going to come in and say, I'll try it, but I don't see it. And they just decide they can't get over it. I know that a lot of times you have people that it's stuck in their mind. That's just the idea. They may not know what that other person looks like, but they have this, this thing in their mind, this image in their mind of their partner making love or having intercourse or whatever they did together.
Right.
And so that's a tough one. That is a tough one. There's no question it's a tough one.
Because isn't it indicative though that it isn't working? Like so for me, where you think of trying as hard as you can, but wouldn't it just be easier to start over than to be with someone that you just constantly have that picture in your head?
Well, sometimes, but let's set up the scenario where you've been together for 12 years. You have a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old. You really do care and love each other. And this happens, and the person, the woman, let's say in this case, the woman is the one who's betrayed, the man cheated. I have had 50-50 at times in my practice.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, I've had 50-50.
Yeah, I pulled up some statistics, actually. That.
Well, I'm interested in what you have. I can tell you in my practice right now, it's not. It's 80-20 and men cheating. So it's more what people would think. But in the past, it's been 50-50, even sometimes tilting more towards the women cheating. But at the moment, it's 80-20. I get a lot. That's a big part of what people call for these days.
Right.
So I have a pretty good sample, and it is more men right now. For some reason. But, I think the main key is you have these people, let's say in this example, they have a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old. They love each other. This happens. She is absolutely stunned. She cannot believe it. Or maybe she's not so stunned, but she was in denial. It could be that way, too. Sometimes their relationship was slowly deteriorating, but this was like, I still can't believe you did this.
Right.
The man in this example is scared. He doesn't want to lose his partner. He realized he's made a mistake. He's wanting to understand what was behind all this. And I have come up with 10 different factors of what can cause someone to cheat. And so I try to help them look at the infidelity as a symptom. So we're not minimizing the pain of the person who's betrayed.
Right.
And she, in this case, needs to know that. I get it. And that I honor her choice to stay or to leave. Either one.
Right.
That let's not demonize the betrayer either. And let's look at what's really going on. It's just what I do. So my lens through which I look at it is probably different than the average person.
And don't go away. There's more Todd Creager where that came from when we return on Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa. The morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And we're back. You are tuned into Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports radio station KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Amazon Music, Audible, iTunes, and more. And thank you for continuing to support Dr. Marissa. Thank you all the guys at the station at KCAA, Fred, Mark, Joe, Rick, Miguel. And if I forgot anyone, I'm sorry, but it is all guys, and I am so appreciative. If you'd like to be a guest on this show and promote your book or your service or your organization, please do contact me at drmarissa.life and have a chat. You can book some time at drmarissa1.youcanbook.me, and we'll go from there. And I thought this week we would talk about relationships, because if you've noticed, we don't go to relationship school. We learn math, geography, history. Health sort of touches it. If you remember those classes, I'm dating myself, but I am ageless. We don't have an award-winning relationship school except for our parents. And as we all know, our parents are absolutely not perfect, but they do the best that they can based on what they learned, which is usually a little bit of dysfunction. My job is to put a little fun in dysfunction, but seriously, it behooves us to learn, because we do have experts in the field that will help us with relationships. So I'm bringing you Todd Creager today in my continued week celebrating Valentine's Day with some relationship experts. So back to Todd Creager with advice on cheating. Enjoy.
What ultimately makes us feel good and right. And if you're in a marriage that doesn't make you feel right, then it's time to leave it. I'm just saying that oftentimes my stance is, let's try to see what we can do to keep the relationship together, even with infidelity. But if it's not right for a person, whether it's infidelity or some other reason, or I've just grown out of this relationship, then we need to follow a deeper soul. So I always say that, we have this simplistic view of spirituality, but our soul kind of complicates things sometimes. And we need to allow for, let's be the best person I can be, but does it mean that the only good people are the ones that don't have abortions? Or, we could get into we're always looking for, that could be a whole new realm.
Yeah. We don't have time.
What I'm saying is that life is not so black and white. So
True.
We gotta be kind to ourselves and look what's right for us.
True.
And
right, but I do advocate. If your marriage is, if you're not 88% happy with that person, don't leave. Go to someone like you. And I absolutely endorse you, because I went in. I remember the 3 years that we spent with you were trying everything possible to be able to stay together because of the kids. And at the end of the third year, I can remember calling you and saying, okay, this is what's happened. Do I have permission to leave? Do you remember that call?
I do remember that call. I really do.
Yeah. And you said, based on the work that you've done, yes. And so I know that it was very important for me to be able to look in my children's eyes and tell them, and I still do, I did everything I could possibly do to try to stay together. And they're 17 and 15 beautiful girls. And now, every once in a while they'll say, I don't even know how you guys made it as long as you did, because you're so different, and other things. And again, he's a great dad. I'm a great mom, and we, it works. And it is truly, but I guess my message is, if you are not happy 88% of the time in your relationship, it is a lot harder to try to make it work after you cheat. So obviously that first place to go is to try to take that midlife crisis as an opportunity to figure out.
And here's, I try to help people do what they really want to do and not beat themselves up for whatever decision they make. Some women, for example, they go, if I go back and I accept him back in my life, aren't I not being good to me? And they beat themselves up for it. I don't want to be, I don't want to be the sap here that lets him walk all over me. And I understand that. And sometimes, again, the woman in this example, she's the one betrayed. It's not always that way. Right. She may need to kick him out for a while just to have a boundary so she feels like she has some integrity.
Right.
But ultimately, I help them realize that they're free to do what they want to do, even if it's to give their partner another chance. They shouldn't beat themselves up for giving their partner another chance, nor should they beat themselves up for leaving. That they're all viable choices, and they make sense. And if you get back with him, there's got to be the reason is that there's reason to trust. It's one of the things we want to look at. And how we do that is we look at the partner's behavior, the partner's willingness to look at the underlying emotional drives that pushed them there in the first place. Like I said, there's 10. I hear what you're saying about the 2. Yeah, but there are sometimes it could be an addiction. Right. Sometimes, like you said, it could be an issue between the couple. But there are ways people act out feelings. There's ambivalence that people don't talk about directly. I think people have this crazy idea that they should never have mixed feelings about being married, so they don't talk. I think one of the biggest problems we have as couples is our role models didn't show us how to share and talk about things that are hard to talk about. So we don't talk about these things, and then we get more and more secretive. I can't tell my partner I'm angry. I can't tell my partner that I like people that have boots on. I'm just thinking. But,
Okay, I kind of think I know where you're going with that.
Yeah, I just think that every let me say it this way. To maximize the probability that infidelity doesn't happen, the more open we are, the more transparent we are with our partner, the more we can tolerate the fact that I want to be able to say to my wife, we had this great conversation a few weeks ago, and it was the night before I gave a talk to therapists on infidelity. We were driving home from some friend's house, and she was saying, we were both saying how much we like this couple, and they're really one of our closest couple friends. And she says, but God, she cut her hair so short. And I said, yeah, she's not someone I'd be attracted to. Well, that kind of parlayed it into, well, who in our group would you be attracted to? And it was such a kind of a fun, freeing conversation to talk about, I talked about this one woman who, if I wasn't married and she wasn't married, there's no question I would go after her. I don't know if she'd go return it, but I would go after her in a heartbeat. Really? Yeah, and it was fun to just share it. I wouldn't
fun. That was fun.
It was fun. It's no big deal.
Okay, now I'm beginning to wonder.
It's no big deal. She's like, she knows that. See, here's the difference. Okay. My wife knows that I am attracted to her, and she knows I wouldn't ask couples to have this conversation if they're having a lot of discord, if they're sexually not connected, emotionally not connected. But when you develop that connection. Isn't it nice? And I'm not saying that I have to share every little thought I have that, I like this woman I saw in Ralph's. I'm not saying that. But wouldn't it be nice to be able to share parts of me? And it was fun, because we're not threatened by it.
I think you're at grad school 301. I don't know necessarily if that is the level that I am accustomed. Now, is it important, and is there a number of times you're allowed to bash the partner that cheated before you have to let it go? Because I can't even imagine how you could possibly have any kind of a relationship in and out of bed if we keep bringing that up.
That's a great question. That's a great question. You ask good questions.
Thank you.
I think here's what I tell people. Again, I'm just using the man cheating, but like I said, it could go either way. But I have couples that come into my head as you're asking me this question. But I have had a man who said, "How often do I have to listen to her say how she doesn't trust me?" Right. And she asks me questions about what happened, and I say to him, as long as she asks the question. So here's the thing. She's going to ask the question. She's going to bring up her anger. She's going to want to know more. He needs to respond to it. The more he responds and the more he listens, eventually that organically is going to decrease.
If he reacts well. If he says, how many times am I going to have to hear this? Or in his body language or in his reaction, or if you can't let this go, then let's just call it quits. Because if that is the feeling tone,
right,
then I don't think they're ready to move on. I don't think it's going to work.
Well, again, we all have feelings, we have feelings in our relationship. Sometimes feelings that are unresolved, not perfectly resolved. Maybe one partner is angry at the other person because they're always messy or they spend too much money. This is a more serious one. I get that, infidelity. But in terms of feelings don't necessarily break up relationships as long as we stay connected. So if a person, we make feelings so big, but if a person has the wife in this case, betrayed, she says, I am so mad at you. Right. I just saw this commercial and it was a picture of Hawaii and that's where you had that affair. And it just brought up all my anger all over again. His best response is, I could understand. I get it. I can imagine. You see that? You picture me with this other person? Of course. Now, that's not something most men would do, but I teach them.
Yeah.
They have to do that.
Good.
Now, that guy
and women too, and let's balance it out.
That
I think you're right.
I think knee-jerk reaction is to get defensive, but if we could learn to stay open when we want to close and stop protecting ourselves and just letting our partner have the experience they're having, which in this case, in the moment, is anger. That anger will pass. Nobody stays angry when they're heard. They're angry and then it passes. Maybe they'll have a great day and they'll go have a picnic and then they'll make love. And then maybe 2 days later, she sees the same commercial. She gets angry again. Does that mean that the relationship is over because she's angry? The key is for him to understand her, to listen, to honor her. And ultimately, yes, for her to honor him and realize that, he's not a cheater. He's a person who cheated. And that's what we have to ultimately come to.
Yeah, it's a tough nut to swallow. I mean, whoops.
Yes.
It's
wow. But that's great.
I'm not going. Don't react, Jarvis.
I'm not.
I know you're not. My assistant producer's on the floor. That wasn't purposeful for a change. So, anyways, okay. Now let's get to the other question, which is
you're gonna ask me another hard question.
Another hard question.
Yes.
If you have cheated, if you're the partner who has cheated, and you have not been caught,
yes,
should you say something? Should you, full disclosure?
That's the question that makes me shiver.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I have several values, and some of these values sometimes conflict. One of my most important values is 100% total honesty. And I think that the wife, in this case, or the husband deserves it. See, I think infidelity is a human rights violation. I do. I think that if I'm
whether
cheating,
you're caught or not.
What?
Whether you're caught or not.
Whether I'm caught or not, it's a human rights violation because I am doing things that if my partner knew about it, she may make different decisions. If I'm driving on an intersection, I need to use my eyes and my ears to know what's going on and get information so I know what to do to take care of myself. If I'm in a relationship and I assume he's honest or she's honest and faithful, and I base my decisions day in and day out on that, and yet that person is doing something else and keeping the secret, which is the real issue, then I'm being robbed of my ability to make a good decision. So that's a very important value I have. The other value I have is, because I do this work for over 32 years now, people make changes and they can improve. So if a person comes to see me, and this has happened, not that often, usually people come in because they've been caught, but I've had a few come in that says, I haven't been caught, I don't want to do it anymore, I want to work on this stuff, I commit myself to never seeing this other person again. I don't think my wife needs to know about it because if she did, I don't know how she'll handle it.
Right. You may not have the option of staying.
Yeah, I may not. I'm not going to say, no, you got to tell her. That is not my problem. That is not my decision to make. That's his. No. And I would have a much harder time if he continued the relationship or didn't, but if he's coming in and all the other factors kind of fall into place where he's working on it, then it's not a perfect situation to me because he'll always have that secret. But I say to him, well, I'll tell you what, especially if I know the wife. So I'll only work with you if you behave in ways that, at least from this point forward, there are no secrets. So it's a tricky question.
Yeah.
And yet,
I'm with you on the latter. I believe honesty is important to me, but brutal honesty and 100% honesty all the time, I don't. It's that it depends gray area. That
what's the best possible solution in this case? Now, one thing I could say is that if the wife knows 14% of it, it might be better to know 100% of it. I've had people's relationships only start to work out after he finally didn't tell her half of it, but all of it. Sometimes that's when it's like, now you're believable. It's like women's intuition.
Right.
Now I believe you at least. So until I believe you, until I know only some of it, but you're holding back, how can I ever open up? I still get that feeling inside of me.
Yeah.
It's like right brain to right brain communication. I know you're holding out, and that doesn't work.
Right. Okay, so here's what I found on just you haven't heard statistics in a while. I'm here to enlighten you with them, just because I want your take.
Sure.
This is from the statistics brain. So, percent of marriages where one or both spouses admit to infidelity, either physical or emotional, 41%. I was surprised that it was that high. Percent of men.
I'm surprised it's that low, but anyway.
Really? Yeah. Okay. Percent of men who admit to committing infidelity in any relationship they've had, 57%. Percentage of women, 54%, which is, like you were saying, it's close. Yep. It's not, the disparity's not there. Percent of married men who have strayed at least once during their married lives, 22%. So they're making a distinction between relationship and marriage. And then married women who've strayed, 14%. So there's a little bit more disparity. Yes. So let's go esoterical here. So I hear from several men now that because that's just the way men are, and that fidelity is not natural. Right. They're not saying this to me as a date. They're saying this as a client. So just in case you think they don't want to be faithful to me. But if that's true, and that's men want to plant their seeds, and it's the way I heard it best described is men's primary desire is to be free, and women's primary desire is to have security. Right. So then they use that as an argument. Why bother with the quote unquote sanctity of marriage if that is, why do we have this contract? Okay, religion aside. So more and more people are going away from religion. I haven't seen the statistic if that, the whole common law. A relationship is a relationship. Infidelity is infidelity, whether you're married or not. But I just was curious as to your take on this contract, and if the contract itself is leading to this issue.
Yes, that's a good question. I have actually strong thoughts about that. I'm not wishy-washy on this one. I know there's a lot of gray areas in life, but here's the way I look at it. I think the contract is crucial and important. Now, it could be a marriage contract. It could be two people just making a contract on their honor that they will be exclusive. But I do think that there's a certain freedom in being able to date and pollinate as many women, or I guess be pollinated by as many men as a person wants. But there's another kind of freedom when you're in a committed relationship where there's fidelity, where there's faithfulness. There's the freedom of developing depth. I have not found it work, whether you're talking about swinging and open relationships or infidelity. It just doesn't work. It creates more pain than pleasure, ultimately in the long term. That's just my experience of what I've seen, my observations. Mm-hmm. So there's a certain freedom. For example, even my subject, which I know can provoke some controversy with my wife about who would you be attracted, who would you be attracted to.
Right.
We have a certain freedom to be all of who we are, different than acting on it though, because we have a sacred contract, the two of us. That's not going to work, and it just doesn't work. Okay. We're not wired. Maybe our attachment to each other there's such a need that when you are actually involved in some physical encounter or even emotionally intimate encounter with another person, it just doesn't work for us, especially when there's a secret involved. So
the light bulb just went off.
I understand. Okay.
Let me share my light bulb as I used to do with you all the time. But because I've been grappling with this. I don't want to get married again, but I do want to have a meaningful relationship, but I don't have a lot of time. Dr. Pat Allen told me to take a lover, and I've been, I don't know if I can do that, because to have the intimate sex, it's difficult to do it when you don't have a relationship. But then, I don't have time to find the relationship, blah, 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 blah. So I've been in this quandary, and what you just said, instead of seeing marriage as the BS that we sometimes do, the belief system around the ball and chain.
Yes.
Okay. And what you continue to raise up in your book and your talks and all the things that you represent is there's a juiciness.
Yes.
That you can only get in a committed relationship. I got it.
That's right.
I got it. So you can have pleasure.
Yes.
You can certainly have pleasure in and out of a committed relationship, but you don't get the depth or the juicy depth.
That's right.
That comes with sex in a committed relationship. I got it.
You have the freedom to have depth, but you have to do the work and pay attention. But the potential is right there for the taking. And then we can live without pollinating a lot of other people because we have something really great here,
Yeah, I get that.
I have my gym. There's a 73-year-old Italian man from Brooklyn. I'm a Jewish guy from Brooklyn. We have a good time. He's never been married. I'm not saying that his path was any inferior path to my path. It's a different path.
Mm-hmm.
He's had freedom to do that. But I cannot at all minimize the freedom that I feel in terms of being committed and to be able to be more and more of who I am with a partner. And then that, of course, is when I talk about in the long, hot marriage, learning to be playful, learning to experiment in and out of the bedroom. So there are, this whole theme about men need to pollinate. There are some evolutionary reason for that, but it just doesn't work. And in the long term, I think there are better ways we can go. And commitment helps.
How do people who want to find the juiciness in their marriage find you, or in their relationship? It's not just marriage, but in
marriage, or even helping
how do they find you, Todd?
That soulmate. I do that as well. But my website's probably the best. It's Todd it's toddcreager.com. I'm based in Huntington Beach, but I'm known to Skype, and I work with people all over the English-speaking world.
You were on the OWN network.
I was on Oprah Winfrey Network on the show on Faithful. I was a therapist working with a couple from Monterey. I got to know them and work with them, and that was quite a fun experience and interesting couple.
So if you are thinking of cheating, if you have already cheated, if you are tempted to throw the cheater to the curb, it's worth a 30-minute Todd Creager consultation. So be sure to check him out, toddcreager.com. Todd, as usual, it's been a blessing to connect with you.
It's been great.
I do miss our regulars, but that's okay. I know you're a great therapist because I don't have to keep seeing you.
I love it. That's
right? You did a good job. That's job.
True.
But love to your wife and to your family.
Thank you.
And peace and blessings to you. Yes, absolutely. You're not going to believe the way they look. I need a shotgun. They're gorgeous. And they're beautiful inside and out. But, okay, last. Oh, do a shout out. Who would you like to say peace shout out to?
Peace shout out?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Since we're talking, my wife.
Oh. Say, what do you want to tell her something that you haven't told her lately, or I'm sure?
Oh God,
just something good.
We've been married 30 years, and I could tell you right now that I am more in love with my wife. We're empty nesters now for about a few months now. For no kids. I am so looking forward to our next 30 years. You have no idea.
Aww.
Really
okay,
true.
I'm going to ask you a horribly personal question, but I also have wondered what the best number of times to actually have sex is a week.
20 to 25. No, I'm just kidding. I would say, I think every couple's different. No, I think I'm not going to give you a real fixed answer. For some, they love it twice a week. For some, it's once a week. For some, it's 5 times a week.
And you?
And me, I think it varies. It varies. Sometimes.
What's your average? I'm horrible.
My
I am
average.
absolutely
You are
horrible.
asking some good
I
questions.
know.
I would say the average is twice a week.
Twice a week. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's something to shoot for.
Hey, this is the business I'm in. I got to be a transparent, especially when I'm on with Dr. Marissa.
That's right. That's right. To tell the truth, the whole truth. All right. And here's your going out applause. Thank you again.
And I hope that you enjoyed Todd Creager and his wisdom. He has books. He has awards. It's easy to look him up. Just Google Todd Creager. Tell him Dr. Marissa sent you. He was instrumental in helping me know that I had done everything I could to stay married, so that I'm now happily divorced. He worked with my husband and I for a number of years, sorting through that question: are we better apart or are we better together? And that's it for show number 638. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live from her living room during the pandemic, reminding you that it is all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Now go forth and multiply the romance that you are, and have the best day ever. See you tomorrow.